Surah Al-Fatihah is not only the greatest surah, but the most important, because the validity of prayer depends on it. So it is very essential to recite it with Itqaan, or as perfect as you can. To be able to do that, we'll go through each word from ayah to ayah and indicate the proper pronunciation and the possible mistakes that can happen in each ayah to achieve perfection in your recitation, inshallah. When referring to a possible mistake, we'll use this icon to indicate major mistakes, or mistakes that affect grammar, structure, and may alter the meaning of the ayah completely. If they do change the meaning, then you'll also see this icon. These mistakes could potentially invalidate your recitation. And for the less serious mistakes, we'll use this icon to indicate minor mistakes, which should always be avoided as they make your recitation less perfect. So let's get started. The first thing that you have to pay attention to is your speed, especially when praying on your own. Going through Al-Fatihah too fast goes under major mistakes, which can invalidate your recitation and prayer. The reason is that it will cause you to drop entire letters or sounds, or not fully pronounce words containing shadda, for example. And this cannot be allowed because it will affect the structure and the meaning of each word. So, saying
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم
is unacceptable and should not happen in prayer. Every letter, every shadda, every sound has to be fully pronounced. This also doesn't mean that you must go too slow. You can still recite fast, but without dropping letters or sounds.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين,
and so on. So find a tempo that does not compromise the pronunciation of each sound. Now let's start with the first ayah. This is the first ayah of Al-Fatihah according to the qira'ah of Asim. For Basmala, you should not overextend these two words beyond 2 counts. So, Bismillahir-Rahmanir. This is a mistake. The second thing is to make sure that you're not applying imala on kasra for the word bism. So, we do not say Bismillah, but we say Bismillah. Imala can also affect alif in these words. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. This is of course adding too much imala on the alif, and this is a mistake. The same goes if you have a too heavy alif. Bismillahir-Rahman is also a mistake. So, ayah number 1. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The second ayah. For the first word, do not extend mim in Alhamd. Alhamdulillah. But this is of course a mistake, and this is just a normal meme. Saying Alhamda lillah is also a major mistake. So make sure that this is a dhamma. Also, this is a very common mistake. Saying Rabb with sukoon, Rabbil Alameen, while it should have a clear kasra, Rabbil Alameen. So not Rabbil Alameen. Also remember to not overextend the alif randomly in the word Al-Alameen and say Rabbil Alameen. Another thing that is usually mispronounced here is adding imala to the end of the word and say Rabbil Alameen, while it should be Rabbil Alameen. So Al-Alameen, not Al-Alamin. These are two different sounds. The noon at the end of the word should not be pressed either. Al-Alamin. This is a minor mistake, but it is still a mistake. So, the second ayah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. The third ayah. Hamza here is a light letter followed by Ra, which is a heavy letter. So we should say Ar-Ra, not Ar-Ra. Ar-Rahman is a mistake. It should be Ar-Rahman. And pay attention to the ya at the end of the word Ar-Rahim to pronounce it as a correct ya without imala, saying Ar-Rahim, not Ar-Rahim. So, third ayah, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Ayah number 4. The same note on the alif in the word Maliki, that it should not be overextended beyond the 2 counts. So, Maliki Yawmiddin is a mistake. Make sure that you also get the dal right in the word ad-din, or else it can turn into a ta, making it at-teen, which is also a completely different word with the meaning of figs. So this is considered a major mistake that can change the meaning. The last thing in this ayah is also a common mistake for many beginners, which is when learners turn the kasra under the word maliki and yawmi into a sukun without realizing and say Malik Yawmiddin. Again, this is a major mistake. Kasra has to be pronounced clearly. So we would say Maliki Yawmiddin. Ayah number 5. Pay very good attention to this ayah because there are many mistakes that must be avoided here. First, you have to make sure that the shadda in these 2 words is fully pronounced without exaggeration. So if you say too quickly or too lightly, like Iyaka na'budu with 1 ya, it will change the meaning completely. In fact, Iyaka na'budu means we worship sunlight. At the same time, you don't want to press too much on the shadda to the point that it splits the word into 2. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. This is too much pressing on the shadda. But you should pronounce the shadda somewhere in between. And the sign that you are getting it right is that the sound or the airflow when you are pronouncing the ya with shadda will not stop. Iyyaka na'budu. So the sound has not stopped when I'm pronouncing the ya with shadda. Next is the word na'budu. Many beginners add qalqala on the ayn in this position and say Iyyaka na'budu, while it should be Iyyaka na'budu without qalqala. Also, dhamma at the end of the word should not be extended or pressed too much by saying Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka. Other learners replace the dhamma with sukun here as well. Iyyaka na'bud wa iyyaka nasta'in. So here we have sukun on the dal, and this is of course a major mistake. Finally, the word nasta'in. Many beginners extend the fatha on the ta here and say wa iyyaka nasta'in. This essentially adds alif to the word, and this is of course another major mistake. So we say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. The next ayah, the alif here at the end of the word should not be pronounced. We do not say Ihdina sirat, and we say Ihdina sirat. Once more, do not over-elongate the alif in the word as-sirat. You should always keep it to 2 counts only. For the word al-mustaqim, some beginners extend that fatha and say al-mustaqim, which is another mistake as well. So, ayah number 6, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Ayah number 7. This word here is very commonly mispronounced as al-lazina with zay, and others mispronounce it as dal, al-ladina. We should only say al-ladhina with dhal. For the word an'amta, pay attention not to say an'amtu with dhamma because it completely changes the meaning as well. An'amta means you have bestowed. And when you say أنعمت, it becomes I have bestowed. So this is a major and a serious mistake that must be avoided. Pausing here on the word عليهم is not considered to be a mistake as long as you don't consider it to be a separate ayah, since we have already considered basmala to be an ayah in this recitation. It is still better to keep on reciting here, but you can pause here and then continue from the word after it. For the word al-maghdub, because the letter ضاد follows ghain in this word, many beginners tend to split the word into two in order to show the ضاد properly and say al-maghdub. But this is of course a mistake that must not be made. Another mistake related to this word is pronouncing ضاد as dha and say al-maghdub. And the same mistake goes for the word al-dhalin, and they say al-dhalin, which is another major mistake. But the problem here with this word is much bigger because this mistake changes the meaning. Al-dhalin means those who are astray, but al-dhalin with dha means those who have stayed. So changing the meaning like this is bad practice and can invalidate your recitation. Last point for the entire recitation, which is extending the temporary med. Temporary med can be extended for 2, 4, or 6 counts. If you choose either of these options, then stick with it. You should not keep switching speeds and lengths of med in one recitation. Finally, if you are now concerned about making a mistake in Surah Al-Fatihah, that can invalidate your recitation and prayer. It is important to know the following. If one makes any type of mistake without deliberation and while doing their best, then there is no problem inshallah as long as you keep learning and improving. If you realize that you made a mistake in Al-Fatihah in prayer, then go back to the ayah, fix the mistake to the best of your abilities, and then move forward. It is also recommended to check out this lesson, which addresses common concerns about silent recitation. I left the link for this lesson in the description, so check it out. However, when someone is well aware that they are reciting wrong, or that they must improve their recitation but they don't want to learn, or they deliberately make the mistake, then that is a different story. Some people, for example, insist on saying al-dhalin instead of the correct pronunciation al-dhalin. Some scholars ruled such deliberate mistakes to invalidate prayer. So that is what you should be cautious of, especially if an imam does this. Final piece of advice is to practice while keeping the mouth movement in check to make sure that the makharij are properly followed. To see Surah Al-Fatihah recited with mouth movement and full Tajweed indications, check out this lesson. I also left its link in the description. Thanks for watching. If you want to start learning the Tajweed, then start with this playlist. And also, don't forget to check my latest book about Tajweed and download the companion app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.